Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! My son is 12 years old with autism and ADHD. He's the middle child of 5 kids. We planned our Thanksgiving dinner a couple of months ahead and invited our relatives over for Thanksgiving. My son is very socially inept and doesn't understand his actions might be considered hurtful, rude, or inappropriate. And I'm working with his therapist and his school on how to behave in social situations. To make a long story short, it started off as a debate with one of his 5 cousins at dinner and mentioned an unknown woman by name. And when I pressed him on what he's talking about, he stated that his uncle, which is my sister's husband, brought a random woman in our house when I asked him last minute to look after the kids when I was called to work. I stopped him for speaking any further, and knowing this was going to lead to an argument between adults, I had to send all of the kids upstairs to the bedrooms. I tried everything I could to de-escalate the situation and keep the peace. I wanted to make sure that any grievances are held off until after dinner, but it quickly devolved into screaming matches and crying. I had no idea he was having affairs and I was mad that he was bringing women into our house with children, and I tried to hold off until after dinner because I was trying to keep it positive. I was really mad, and I told the uncle he's not welcome back. I told my son that private adult matters should be kept private and that he can't just talk about these things out loud in front of the whole family and all the other children. And he shouldn't be bringing up sensitive topics. He brought up his sister's personal trauma without permission too at the dinner table. And because he couldn't keep his mouth shut, I took away his video games, his phone, his computer, and TV until the new year. My son cried and said that he didn't know the matter was private and that he wasn't supposed to say anything. I chalked it up to common sense. I know the affair wasn't his fault and that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he discussed the affair publicly and failed to tell me or his dad that his uncle was bringing women into our house, which was a month ago. Though I feel like I was too harsh on my son. Am I in a wrong here? And now for some comments. So let me get this straight. Months ago, this uncle brought an affair partner into your home when he was asked to babysit your children. And you don't mention any others having autism or other issues. 2 of those children are older than 12. None of those children told you about this. Because of this, you end up punishing a 12-year-old kid who has autism for talking about his personal experience, telling the truth at a time that is inopportune for you. Yes, you are in the wrong. The uncle's a jerk. Did he coerce the other kids into not telling you about this strange woman in your home? Honestly, the whole situation doesn't pass the sniff test. But then you're in the wrong for posting this. So either way, you're in the wrong. Apologize to your kid, restore his privileges, and be a better human. Yes, you are in the wrong. Why? Because you just punished your son for your brother-in-law's bad behavior. And why the heck does your brother-in-law have free access to your house? That alone isn't your son's bad behavior, but yours and brother-in-law's. You are in the wrong. This is exactly the type of parenting that's going to deter your son from telling you other bad or even dangerous situations that might be happening in his life. Sure, it might not have been appropriate for the time and setting, but he wasn't aware. You're teaching him that being honest about things is always going to get him in trouble. I am sure this is going to impact his self-esteem quite a bit too. Bad parenting move. I'm an adult child with 3 siblings. I'm the only single one with no kids. I live about 3 hours away from my parents. I go down to see them most holidays and for various other events in the year. It is rare for them to take a trip up here. Last year, for Christmas, my siblings all did their own thing with their kids, so my parents surprisingly came to me. I thought we had fun. I invited my parents up again this year at the beginning of November. They haven't given me a definite answer though. I've asked them multiple times and they keep blaming it on the other one not wanting to come. I really don't care if they come. I just want it to be nice. We have had a troubled relationship, but I have made an effort to be more civil. I wouldn't be upset at all to spend the holiday alone. I got an offer to house sit / babysit and make some good money that I really need. I called my parents and told them, and they seemed upset, claiming they never said they weren't coming, but still wouldn't say yes or no. Am I in the wrong for house sitting instead of waiting for their decision? And now for some comments. Of course you're not in the wrong. Your parents decided to play stupid games, and now they want their stupid prize. Them saying I'm not sure and stringing you along is usually code for I'm not that interested. But you're better than nothing, so I'll keep you as a backup until something better comes along. Don't feel bad for not going along with this crap. You're not in the wrong. You asked them at the beginning of November. That's a more than reasonable span of time to make a decision. How long did they want you to wait? Until Christmas Eve? Enjoy house / pet sitting. You're not in the wrong. You gave them over a month. They have made it clear at least one of them doesn't want to go to your place. So it's fair to say it was pretty clear you didn't want to come. Also, they were clearly waiting to see if something better came up and, if not, would say yes at the last minute. You are at no fault, and I'd guess some of this is why your relationship is strained. You tried. You get credit for inviting them. No need to feel guilt or responsibility for how things turned out. Make sure they know you won't be home, in case they try to pull the, "Oh, we just thought of you. So lonely. But then you weren't home when we showed up unannounced on Christmas Eve. So rude of you." Anyways, I hope you have fun pet sitting. We normally have 3 people living in the apartments. The apartments have 3 rooms and 1 kitchen. It's me, male 22, and 2 other flatmates. Recently, one of them moved on and went to live in another city. For a while, it was only me and my other pal, male 28, sharing the place. So there was an extra room. Naturally, the landlord was looking for a new person. He made some people visit, and soon there came this girl. Let's call her Paula, female 23. She presented herself as a student looking for a place to stay for about 6 or 7 months. The landlord was happy enough with what he saw and let her move in. Few days later, I met her and her boyfriend in the apartment. We present ourselves, cool, but then I notice and they inform me that she's pregnant in the 5th month. Information she did not give to the landlord. I'm a bit surprised, but I didn't have the time to digest what that means for me and just say cool. Personally, it doesn't change my life, but it does. Also, she mentioned she isn't a student anymore and also jobless. Information not known by the landlord. A week passes and me and my old flatmate notice that her boyfriend actually lives here. They left together in the room. Needless to say, they didn't say this to the landlord either. But wait, there is more. If we put aside the lying and the complete lack of morals expecting me and my friend to put up with this without even asking us, somehow it gets worse. These 2 people are the dirtiest flatmates I've ever had. They never clean after themselves. Never. Kitchen is a mess. The bathroom is a mess. The toilet is a mess. So for the past months, it's been mainly me and my friend that clean after them. Mostly him even. Because I said I've had enough, but still. We have talked with them on a few occasions about this. Nothing changed. Now, I understand it's definitely a hard situation for them. I can't imagine having a baby in 3 months and be cool about it. But, without having anything to do with this, now we live in this situation that makes our lives way harder. We didn't ask for this. We don't pay our rent to live like this. Also, these people are complete strangers to me. I don't know them. I am not their friend, cousin, or father of the baby. They are not my responsibility. They have parents. They should go to them. There is no rent, and if it's anybody else's responsibility, it's hers. And also them being the way they are makes it even harder to consider allowing this to continue. So, to conclude, I want them out as soon as possible. If it was my decision, they would be in the street already. Unfortunately, it's the landlord's decision. We've talked about this, me, my old flatmate, and him. And he agrees, but he isn't ready to take the decision yet. Also, there are some laws here that forbid you to kick out someone just like that. So it's super complicated. I see why I will be the jerk here, but I still believe I have all the right to feel this way and kick them out. What's your thoughts on this very long venting post? Thanks in advance. And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. How is a landlord having a hard time kicking them out when she provided false information and preached terms? Boyfriend living there, poor sanitation. Maybe try telling the landlord the situation is unbearable, that you two are considering leaving. Just to incentivize him to not dilly-dally on the matter. You're not in the wrong, but the path of least resistance is you moving out. Can you find a part of the lease that is not being fulfilled? Say, by having an extra person in the apartment. May help you break it, while the extra person should be a lease violation, and all the rest of it just makes it a bad living situation for you and the other roommate. You're not in the wrong, but if it's a landlord decision, you really do need to just move out. Consider trying to find a place with the other guy if he's a good roommate. We grew up fairly poor. Parents divorced young, neither had money until dad married a woman more successful after we grew up. There was a period of 6 months where all we had to eat at mom's was PB&J and ramen, and I lived in a car. Dad's parents made sure we never starved though. Always knew they were well off, owned properties around town, grandpa left good tips, but never saw much of that directly. My usual Christmas gift was a Carhartt coat or less, a couple $100 at birthdays. Never asked for much. Didn't want to mooch off grandparents or be seen as a trust fund kid. Worked bad jobs but managed to scrape by mostly on my own. Last 30-odd years, we were told by grandparents, uncle and dad that after grandparents pass, us 3 kids would be well taken care of and would have a good amount of money coming. Always had an idea. Since there is a $100K car in the garage that had my name on the lease plate since my purse, but only recently confirmed their estate is worth several $1,000,000. Dad was given power of attorney years ago and organized estate into a trust. He and uncle are executors of that trust. Yesterday, Dad told me and one sister that he and uncle will be splitting grandparents' estate 50-50. Neither of them will give any of us a dime. He repeatedly denied what they had said our entire lives, saying there was never anything set aside for us, accused us for waiting for grandparents to die so we can live off their money, which I found hurtful. His wife owns 2 houses outright, while my house is on the verge of foreclosure. The car needs the engine rebuilt, and I'm $10K in debt. And I need $25K surgery. My pregnant sister is crashing on a friend's couch while trying to find a place she can afford. Even a bit of what she was told to expect will get her out of debt, a place, and help with her kid. Furthermore, both grandparents told us that dad and uncle had already used their inheritance and dad had a couple failed businesses, that a Harley and a hot tub that grandparents paid for, and they wired uncle large sums of money to bail him out of problems. We're angry at dads. We feel he's lying and screwing us over. Had we not been told to expect anything, we never would have expected anything. But everybody told us we'd be getting a big inheritance. So it's infuriating to find out that's all going to dad and uncle now. Mom verified that she heard the same all these years. Plenty set aside for us would be well taken care of, and that dad and uncle already got theirs. Dad denies any of that was ever said, calls us jerks for expecting anything. He calls another sister and convinces her that we're crazy, money hungry, and making things up. She's mad at us, and mad at mom for taking our side. I tried to give dad an out by saying, "I promise you won't get screwed. I'll make sure you get something reasonable." But he wouldn't and kept saying we were the jerks for lying about what he said and that we only care about money. And now for some comments. Your grandparents, dad and uncle are definitely the jerks here for lying to you. But unfortunately, if your grandparents are still alive and already gave your dad and uncle the money, there is nothing you can do. And even if your grandparents have passed, unless you have it in writing stating they owed you something, your grandparents are free to give their money to whoever they want. You're in your 30s. You shouldn't be depending on an inheritance to bail you out for foreclosure or financial ruin. Also, if you're really that broke, you probably qualify for Medicaid, meaning you wouldn't have to pay for that $25K surgery. Have you thought about declaring bankruptcy? Not ideal, but maybe your best way out of your financial problems if you truly cannot afford to pay your debts. You're not in the wrong. It sucks as you have been told all along that something is happening, and then it doesn't. Unfortunately, money brings out the very worst in people. Is there a well? It doesn't sound like there is if the trust was set up, but it's worth asking. I feel really upset for you. I took my 1-week vacation last week. I didn't have any plans to travel and wanted to rest at home. I already met my deadline, so I didn't think there would be anything pressing that my team members couldn't handle. When my boss found out that I would still be in the country, she later mentioned in a team meeting that I would have to be on call and work during my vacation. In the past, my boss had blown up my cell phone in Teams when I was away sick or at an approved appointment because an issue occurred. My boss relied on me to advise and solve issues even though she joined the team around the same time I did. I would always try to refuse, but my boss would guilt trip or intimidate me into working. While I was on vacation, my boss texted and called me about an issue, but I had enough and ignored it. My job is demanding, since I put 10 to 20 hours of overtime a week, but it's an entry-level position. I don't think they need me to advise and offer solutions, but supposedly no one else in the company can. When I returned to work yesterday, I opened my Teams to a great deal of missed messages and some deleted messages from my boss. My boss immediately called a team meeting to criticize me and told me that I abandoned my duty during an emergency, that I let my team members down who had to work overtime, and I showed no care for my work. That I knew I was supposed to be on call and ready to work since I was going to be home all week and blindsided them. I feel that if I'm on vacation, I should be allowed to take a break. On the other hand, I was at home all week and could have accessed my work laptop. All of the VPs work a few hours every day during their vacation. I am not a VP though, as some commenters were confused. Am I in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. If they need you that bad, they should promote you. Otherwise, your boss gets paid to figure it out. Screw that noise. Pay me or shut the hell up. You're not in the wrong. Follow the account Lo Haley. She does great content on how to speak to employers and assert your workplace rights without being overly aggressive and staying professional. I think one of hers deals with your situation and is along the lines of the following, definitely not an exact quote, and I'm tailoring it. Disclaimer. Quote, "Can we discuss my role and responsibility? Since the scope has increased, and I'm so integral to decision-making that I cannot disconnect fully during my vacation. I think my compensation needs to be adjusted accordingly." Thank you for watching and see you next time.